I'm so excited to have my next guest, guys. She's one of the smartest people that I know. Her name is Kick-Ass. It sounds like it's from The Matrix. I'm welcoming the beautiful, extremely fashionable, I don't know how she stays so skinny eating all these amazing food that I see her post on Instagram, Dr. Perpetua Neo. She's freaking amazing. She helps overachievers upgrade their operating system, and she helps them with a lot of issues like panic attacks. She helps them deal with relationship issues like dealing with narcissism and then codependency. She's helped me with stuff like in terms of my business. She's an incredible networker. She's been like all over. She's also a graduate at Cambridge. She's a native of Singapore. Very awesome city, country that I've come to love. So you guys are going to enjoy this. Welcome the amazing Dr. Perpetua Neo. How are you doing?
Hey Lee, thank you for having me here. Doing fabulously this morning. How about you?
Awesome, doing great. I'm excited now that you're here because seriously, you're so freaking smart. She's gonna blow your like brains away. Okay, guys. So let's talk about this because I think you work with a very interesting demographic. You work with like a lot of type A people, a lot of like overachievers, like a lot of people who are like they want to be the best at what they do in the field. So like, how would you like? What kind of behaviors would like a type A person do? Like that's different from like maybe like a average person.
So I think the easiest way would be to talk a lot about what we always say, just enjoy the journey. It's not the outcome. And a type A person will kill you for that. They will get so frustrated with you because for them, most of the thing is about the goals. And yeah, it doesn't mean they don't enjoy the journey, but to tell them to just sit down and breathe and let go is going to want to get them so frustrated. And so that's type A, you know, we set goals. We have multiple goals that we want to achieve at the same time. So a type A person will never come to me to say, hey, I want better sleep. Say, I want to work on my sleep. I want to make sure that I'm out, or I'm dealing with my separation or my divorce from a narcissist or psychopath. I want to also build up my business or jump 3 steps in my career, and I want to drink more water, and I want to do less water.
Oh my god, this is so awesome. I love this. So do you feel like it's genetic, or do you think it's like upbringing? Like what creates these types of people?
I think that's a whole mixed bag as with any kind of personality. Sure, you know, like a lot of times you can see there's going to be a part genetic link, but this is so cultural. For instance, in Singapore, we have a lot of people who are type A because we've always been spurred by the government to be the best, and not just the best, push the envelope on what is the best. So for instance, you see even in our airport, it's an overachieving airport. People in Singapore go to the airport just for fun because there's so many great things to do over there.
I like I like their Wi-Fi. It's freaking amazing.
Oh yeah, the Wi-Fi is amazing, and there's this crazy looking waterfall that extends from the middle of it, and that recycles rainwater. I mean, what the hell is that? But this, we are told, like, we always push the envelope. So, you know, so this can come from a cultural stance. Out of necessity, partly because we are so tiny and we developed so quickly. We had basically no time to develop. Once we were independent from the British, we had to make sure we were up and going from the get-go. So that's our cultural thing. And you can see them in some families of my clients. So they're always they're raised by demanding parents who have told them that, you know, brought up in the context of poverty and telling them that you've got to make sure that you get everything right, otherwise no one's going to take care of you. And you can understand that, you know, in the context of people who have just been raised after the war where there's scarcity, you can understand that. Or Asian parents who have been immigrants and they go to a country without speaking the language, so they do their very best to make sure that the child has the best foundations to maximize success. So, you know, not just Asian parents, immigrant parents, and or just parents who have been there, done that, and they know the importance of setting up the best foundations.
I love that. Thank you so much for that great definition. So like you kind of help a lot of people who are type A with certain problems. that
Mm-hmm.
other people don't seem to have as much, I guess. Like, I guess that's the
Mm-hmm.
best way to describe it. Like, what are some problems that your clients go through that maybe other people don't go through?
I think that we all go through these problems to a certain
Oh,
extent. It's just that, okay,
it's
so for instance, when it comes to anxiety, a lot of people think that anxiety is chewing your nails under the blanket, being unable to leave the house, and just being so scared. But then we also have high functioning anxiety, where everything seems to look really well on the surface. You've got a great house, you've got a great family, great relationships, great job, but actually you are you're just pedaling really desperately. So it's almost like there's this lake that looks placid, but right underneath, there's not just one, but there are many, many Loch Ness monsters cavorting under the surface. And so with high functioning anxiety, whether it's your mind being overactive, or you're having panic attacks, or you're having OCD that's taking over your life, looks like you look like you're functioning, but you're actually not. And then, of course, it comes to relationships. So a lot of us are very good at pretending that things are great in our lives. Or also when it comes to narcissistic or any relationships with people with dark personality types, we have been trained to think that's all our fault. And that if we tell anybody else, things are going to get worse. So it's not just about the high achiever or the overachiever pretending. It's about how they've been conditioned by somebody who is so adept at tricking and screwing with people's minds their whole lives that they don't know what to say. They don't know that they're in such a bad situation. They think it's their own fault.
Wow. That's incredible. Thanks for that breakdown. So you have a very fascinating life. So how did you choose psychology? Like, what was your path like? How did you decide to become the coach for overachievers?
So when it comes to coaching, I suppose the job found me rather than I found it. If I look back at most of my life, it's always been a lot about curiosity and all the different jobs that I've done. And it's also about helping people to become a better version of themselves, to achieve a few different goals at the same time. And since I was younger people would actually just tell me, hey, you know what, like I've got this thing that this goal I need to reach, or I've got this Ivy League college that I want to get to, can you help me there? And I was pretty young, I was in my teenage years. I was like, what, you want to pay me for that? Oh, okay, sure. So, it kind of sought me out. And then kind of organically, I got into psychology as an undergraduate. The story is both like, it's basically a tragic comedy if I think about it in the context of my younger self. So I really wanted to go to vet school. And I applied to 3 vet schools in Australia. And I got into 4. I really don't know how that happened, but I had 4 acceptance letters. But my family wasn't really keen on supporting that career path. It was really expensive. They were like, oh, you're really young and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So if you want to do postgraduate in future, we will support you for it overseas, but no vet school. So I had already just applied to psychology, just, I don't know, just randomly without really knowing what the hell it was. In Singapore, and went in thinking that, oh yeah, whatever, I'll just make the best of it. I'll come in and get first class honors and get out. But I turned out to be really fascinated with it. And then I went to graduate school in Cambridge doing criminology, which is a subset, which also combines psychology in a multidisciplinary way. Wondering if I was mature enough to be able to hold my clients' well-being and perspectives and everything else within my own hands, because it's not something about just throwing yourself in. It's about having this maturity and space for somebody else. And so after a year, I realized that, yeah, you know what, I think I can start learning how to do that. So it's something about being very mindful about that. And then I got into clinical psychology school.
I love that. And you're just such a smart person, and it's like no wonder like you got into Cambridge. Like, can you like, just so many people, like that's like a dream, that's like surreal, that's amazing. Can you share with us like what was your experience like studying at Cambridge?
So Cambridge was very eye-opening, because everywhere you go there, people you meet, everyone has so many different perspectives. There is always something amazing to do there. You know, like for instance, there's amazing museums. There's always very interesting world-class lectures from people who have done the most mind-blowing research. So that would be Cambridge. Very intellectual, very cultural, and maybe that also takes some use. So it takes some time to get accustomed to. So, for instance, you know, I come from Singapore, and it's very small. It's very fast.
Right.
And there's a lot of different things you can do at the same time. And Cambridge is it's kind of like a small town, so you have to put yourself into that town. It's a small town without having a small town mentality. So it's almost like you're going into a world. So the year that I entered was its 800th anniversary. So you go into this place with so much history, but it's also it's almost like you're teleported back in time as well. So people would always say that for instance, our matriculation ceremony was like a Harry Potter's ceremony. Our college dinners are like, oh, you wear this robe and you make it feel like you're in Harry Potter. So was the graduation where someone clasps your hands, you kneel down, and they say something in Latin and bam, you. So you know, it takes some getting used to that. That in Singapore, everything is super fast and super efficient and future forward. Even especially architecture, but Cambridge is like, you know, it's a throwback into a different world. So it's amazing, but you gotta get yourself used to that. That's going to be your life.
Yeah, I love that. What was your favorite memory there?
Say that again.
What's your favorite memory?
My favorite memory of Cambridge, actually, it would have been the graduation.
Wow.
Like I said, you know, it's like most graduations that you go in with this robe, and then you go on the stage. There's a lot of people in a crowded, very modern auditorium. There's your name flashed up there, and bam, it's done. You know, you shake someone's hands. But on this one, you're called right in front of this really old hall, and you kneel down. Someone will clasp his hands around you, speak in Latin, and then you're done.
I love that.
It's very, very surreal.
I'm gonna look at your Instagram just for some graduation, because okay guys, she has like 3 Instagrams. They're all freaking amazing. You have one that's focused on your doctor stuff. You have one focused on food, and you have one kind of focused on travel. So, and your wardrobe is freaking amazing. You eat the best food ever, and you're super skinny. I don't know what witchcraft you've done. But you look amazing, and you have an awesome life. Just want to shout that out. Okay, so what do you feel like is very Singaporean about yourself?
I think it would be my food-loving nature, because as Chinese people, you probably know that we greet each other with, "Hey, have you eaten yet?" Not "How are you?" Because let's face it, "How are you?" can
it's important,
yeah, how are you can be a very simple platitude. Like, for instance, you had a pretty bad day, or you just had a very, very bad meeting, or you had a quarrel with someone, and someone at the supermarket goes, "Hey, how are you? How's your day?" And you can't really tell a stranger or even a friend, "Oh, my day sucked." But have you eaten is actually a much more honest question.
Yes, absolutely. And I love the emotional honesty of Asian people. The crazy thing is, like, I started doing stand-up comedy, right? And of course, some like Asian woman there ever, right? And some of the things I feel I can't get away with because I'm so different and weird. They're just like, oh my God, what is this girl gonna say? But also just in general, I feel like Asians are a little bit more honest. Like, they'll tell you straight up, like, how they hurt you. They don't care about like making people feel nice. And I think it's almost opposite British style, where they care about your feelings. They care about you not wanting to kill yourself after an interaction with them. And it's like, I get why Asians are like this, because we had to like survive, and then we just need to make decisions very fast because we were eliminated if we like hesitated, right? We have like Genghis Khan gene, right? The Europeans should have be a little bit more chill out, right? Like, they had a little bit more peaceful time so they can do it. But like, it's we're nuts. Anyways, okay, so what do you find funny, like in life? Like, do you have favorite psychologist jokes? Like, what makes you laugh?
What makes me laugh? The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, nice. Who's your favorite character?
Sheldon.
Sheldon. Oh, okay. He's hilarious. What?
I know. It's like I really love that series so much. I've probably watched it about 10 times back to back.
Oh,
And it's so funny. I can practically quote so many bits of it. And it's just really amazing because you see this guy who's quite awkward, but he's so intelligent. And yet we watch his growth. You watch his trajectory. And it's amazing, how he comes from this guy who designs his living room with lawn chairs to avoid people, to this guy who actually gets married.
Wow. So what's your favorite Sheldon quote or saying?
You're gonna laugh at me. So it's actually from the first episode. So Sheldon and Leonard are in this clinic where they're supposed to sell their sperm so they can get super fast broadband in their apartment. And then halfway, Sheldon says, Leonard, I don't think I can do it. I'll be committing genetic fraud. There's no guarantee that my offspring is going to give you, it's going to be high quality or high IQ. And then Leonard looks at him and says, I'm sure they'll still love it. No, sorry. Before that, Sheldon says, what if the baby doesn't, or the child doesn't know whether to use a differential or an integral equation to calculate the area under a graph. And then it looks at him and says, I'm sure they'll still love it. And Sheldon goes, I won't.
Oh my God. Oh, that's so Sheldon. Oh my God. I need to watch this series again. Oh my God. Does he get married? Wow, that's
he
shocking.
actually has a functioning relationship with a woman, and the things that he's learned how to navigate a relationship. He's learned so much about himself, and he's got this whole bunch of friends who are annoyed by him, but they support him, and they all grow together.
And I'm single? What the fuck? This is ridiculous. This is ludicrous.
That's hope for Sheldon, there's hope for all of us.
Okay. Man, even Sheldon got married. Anyways, so who's your favorite comedian?
My favorite comedian? Let me think. What's his name? Are we talking about stand-up comedian, or are we talking about just on TV?
Yeah, any actor or actress that makes you laugh. Like, because I feel like humor is really different from U.S. humor in a way. Simply because you guys are more refined, sophisticated, and we're more like street out and crazy. So yeah, I just like to hear, like, because or like maybe in Singapore, like, is there stand-up comedy in Singapore? I have a theory about Asian culture and stand-up comedy, but like I'm just wondering, is there like a scene there?
Yeah, we actually have a scene in Singapore. It's quite a big scene nowadays. Like, like the arts and performance are getting much bigger here. But I think historically, my favorite comedy would be Monty Python. Have you heard of that?
Yes. Oh, I love Monty Python. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, so Monty Python is amazing. So I guess I grew up watching quite a bit of British humor. That would be in the form of Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean. Still makes me laugh. But then I discovered Monty Python, so that would definitely be my first choice of something funny. If you say what's really weird and bizarre, Monty Python. Specifically the movie The Life of Brian.
Life of Brian? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So that's actually a slapstick rendition on the life of Christ. So it starts with Ryan being born in a stable next year to Christ.
Wow.
Yes.
That's hilarious. So, I remember you from an email that Nagina Sethi sent on Spice Yourself Skinny. Now, your picture, you weren't even like overweight at all. I don't even know why you joined the program, but like I was like, this lady's very interesting. Really cool name. Let's see what she's about. And that's how I kind of got to know you. And like throughout the years I've known you, you've always been like such a great networker, even though you're an introvert, and then you allowed me to have the permission to have introvert hangovers, because I was like, it's okay to sleep after you work so hard. Thank you. And but you're such a good networker. You've met people like Felina Sue, Nagina, Rami, and Derek. Like, how do you find these great opportunities? And like you, even in Europe, you got so many opportunities to work with like top-notch photographers and just top of the field people. So like, what's your advice on like meeting and networking and just being surrounded by amazing people?
I would say that go there as yourself. And I know how cliche it sounds, but what I mean by itself is, for instance, if you're introvert, as you know, you rightly mentioned, and I think that's something that we both always connected on.
Mm-hmm.
So, say introvert, you don't go into an event thinking, if there are 50 people, I'm going to network with 60 people. As an introvert, you look for, if sometimes just one deep proper connection. And I don't take it too personally. Sometimes some people are not a fit, and you use this as intel. Okay, this person's not a fit with me, or how can I become better at what I do? So this is the first thing, because when you set the right kind of intentions and goals, you have the right energies and outlook, meaning that you go in winning it, not go in all frantic and nervous. So whether you're in a place full of strangers you've never heard of, or you're meeting someone that you already that you kind of heard of and that you really admire, setting the right frame is going to help you win.
That's awesome. So you also referred a lot of great people to me while I was doing my old podcast, so thank you so much for that. You've networked like I think 10 people at least to me. And
really? Oh wow.
You're so popular in Singapore. Oh my god, you're like the queenest. I was like so shocked. So again, thank you so much for that. Like,
you're welcome.
I just wanted, seriously. So like, can you tell us like, what is it like working with you, and like, what kind of clients do you enjoy working with?
So what's it like working with me? I think we should see what my clients say. And most of my clients often say that it's fun. You don't expect to laugh so much, but you do. But of course, it's not just superficial. It's very deep as well. So it's about how I would describe it in a word is mapping. So we map who you are, we map what things are like for you, and we map where you want to be, and we get you there. And often not just one goal, multiple goals at the same time. So, you know, you could have hired a coach for other things like to exercise, or to another business coach to, you know, get your business in tip-top shape or whatever else. So I'm kind of like your master coach, making sure that everything stays accountable. And of course, you know, I help you with the things I specialize in. And why people also love working with me is because I work with them in 8-week programs to ensure that there's accountability and that they smash their goals as quickly as possible. Because let's face it, we've all heard of the person who goes, you know, I've been in therapy for 3 years and nothing's changed, or 10 years and nothing's changed. And I always tell my clients that I don't want to see you for 3 years, not even 6 months. The only reason why I see you for longer than 8 weeks or 12 weeks is because you've smashed your first set of goals and you want to build yourself towards the next step. You want to improve other things in your life. So people will hire me for our programs to keep them accountable, to sort things out, and to get also to, so you know, not only do you sort out what's wrong, you get to a place where what's right, and you leverage all the stuff from your past. And I would say, you know, not just kill your demons, you make your demons work for you. And they also love what I call having a psychologist on retainer, because we all have things like having a lawyer on retainer, right? And so I use that concept, and I tell my clients, hey, you know what, in our VIP programs, you have access to me. Obviously, I sleep sometimes. Obviously, I'm traveling sometimes. But you get access to me on WhatsApp and on email. So I'll answer your questions. You also get access to an optional 10-minute call every week. And this is what I'll call your express calls, where if you have questions or you need to prep yourself for this big meeting or this pitch to a venture capitalist, or you've got this big court case because you're dealing with a narcissist that you need to prep for, this is what gets you grounded and sorted.
I love that. And I've worked with you, and you're super professional. You're like just on point with everything. And I love the fact that you said thing, because I felt so clear while working with you. It was just like, I felt so safe, because I was like, you're like, boom, 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 this is what you need to do. All right, you do this, do that. It was it's like safe for me. That's the best word I can think of. It's just like I know you're gonna tell me straight up if I'm like not doing this, and then you're straight up, and just communication. So I appreciate that. You're like a more emotionally intelligent tiger mom. Like, I guess Asian parents would just say like, if you don't do your homework, I'm gonna fucking kill you or break your leg, right? But in a more loving way, right? So I appreciate that. So what are some of like your favorite It's true, people. If you're not Asian, it's all everything I say about Asians is true. So, what are your favorite kind of topics to coach on? Because you have a lot of expertise for people with panic attacks. You have a lot of stuff to share on narcissism and how to deal with narcissists, and you have a lot to share on just like, I guess, success and like achievement and psychology in general. So what are like your top, let's say like top 3 things you love coaching on?
So the top 3 things I love coaching on would be toxic relationships,
Okay.
anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
and also people wanting to skip steps in their career. So we're not saying that they don't do their job, but we're saying that, hey, you know, I have got 2 ranks or 3 ranks that I want to be promoted through. Let's get me there. I want to shift industries, but I don't have much experience. Let's get me there. So those will be the 3 main reasons why people call me. So, you know, we all wake up with a lot of lofty goals and a lot of dreams and everything else. I think that's fantastic. Never lose sight of that. But at the same time, we don't really want to work on them unless there's something really pressing. So there's other pressing things that gets people to me. And then from there, we start to work on all the other things in their lives as well.
That's perfect. So I think if you just cover these 3 topics, I think you have a really good life, basically. But let's dive down a little bit deeper, like, because I think the word toxic is just thrown around like the word racist in this country, in America. It means nothing now, in a way. So like, as a psychologist, how would you define a toxic relationship or person, if there is a
a toxic person would be somebody that we call has a dark personality type. And when I say personality, I mean that it's been, you know, our personalities are ingrained into us. It's not to say that we cannot change. Being conscious of behavior can change. But a person with a personality disorder often is unable to change because it's so deeply ingrained. They don't want and they will not change because people who are with dark personality types. So we're talking about narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths, Machiavellians, very dark, fascinating stuff. And these people can also be in our everyday lives. You know, everybody's met at least one person who's like that.
Yes.
Even if you've never been romantically involved with them. So these people are our dark personality types, and these people will have toxic relationships because they tend to be generally very entitled, careless, they tend to be manipulative, and they also tend to really get the kicks out of hurting you.
I see. That's a great definition. And like, I guess, do you think empaths are attracted to narcissists, or what was codependent? Like, what's the personality type that gets hurt by them?
I think somebody who is overgiving.
Okay, that makes sense.
So so like if somebody is type A and they're overgiving, I think that's actually a very toxic combination. It's almost like it's this cocktail, it's a Molotov cocktail that you implement in your own face. Because if you're overgiving without boundaries, this is something that your dark type will exploit. And you're going to keep wanting to pedal it you tend to blame yourself. You pedal harder and harder and harder. And so you just keep giving and giving, and you set yourself for failure without even knowing that. Because the thing is that you've been hooked into a relationship with somebody who's portrayed this false front. And because you've already experienced how amazing it was, because it's, even though you don't know that it's fake, when it's been taken away from you, you get blamed for that. And you also tend to blame yourself. So the only thing you'll say is, you know what, this was not a fantasy, it's not a pipe dream. I've experienced that before. And because it's gone now, it has to be my fault. I must have done something. So let me work really, really, really hard to get that back.
Man, that hits home. Wow, that was really good. Really great example. And the second thing, what was the second thing you said? Sorry, this is so good. Is it panic?
Panic attacks, yes. Okay. So panic attacks, sometimes people say things like, oh, you know, I'm having a panic attack, when it's really not a panic attack. This is not to put down the role of having an anxiety attack. That's when your thoughts just go really, really wild and take you over. But panic attacks are a lot more visceral. It's like an alien has taken over your body.
Oh my God.
you are so, so, so hot. We're not just talking about warm. You feel trapped, like this sensations in your heart are so strong. You feel like you're going to die, or you're sweating or hyperventilating. You literally feel that you're going to die, and chances are you're probably in an enclosed space, like a train or a plane or a bus. You're so scared everyone's staring at you. So all these factors converge together to make you feel like you cannot escape. People are going to laugh at you. Everybody's seeing what's going on, and something really wrong is going on in your body. And you learn to associate a similar situation, so a similar context and scenario, and with this panic attack. So if you know you're going to go back into this scenario, like for instance, tomorrow I'm going to have this, or next week I'm going to have this presentation to give, and in the presentation in a crowded room, this is when all the symptoms happen. Or I'm going to have to take the train next week, so it's going to haunt you for the next 1 week. And so it's hell. It's not just a half an hour in a train and that 5 minutes when you're having that panic attack. It's way beyond that. It's before the next time, and it's after the next time. So it's really exhausting.
So thank you for sharing that. And what was the third thing you were talking about?
The third thing I was talking about would be people who want to jump steps in their career. Yes.
Can you explain that a little bit? Yeah.
So for that, it could be somebody who says that, I want a very big promotion because there's something that I can do. I'm ready for a responsibility. And the thing is, how do I get there? Or, there's a parallel industry or this different industry that I want to jump into. I got some skills, but I feel like I am under-experienced generally because I don't tick all the boxes that they want. So how do I get there? So often what people don't realize is that we have a lot of experience that's transferable. So a woman who might tell me that, I've been out of the workforce for 5 years because we're raising my kid. So I'm totally irrelevant. And actually that doesn't make it irrelevant, because raising children, okay, I don't have children myself, maybe not yet, but but raising children is a big responsibility. It teaches you a lot of things, like how to multitask.
Absolutely.
Yeah, how to take on a different role, how to care for somebody else, how to be a leader, in fact.
Yes, absolutely. Those are great examples. So what are your favorite client success stories?
So actually my favorite client success stories would be the ones where they come to me thinking that life is gone. So they often come to me in a state of numbness, which is actually code word for depression and burnout, interspersed with anxiety. So their minds are overactive, they're cerebral, they're always rationalizing stuff away, they don't want to feel anything, but at the same time they feel it too much. And they feel like they're goners. And they feel like they're going to give up hope. And also people tell them things like, anxiety is going to last you for the rest of your life. You're going to have to learn how to manage panic attacks, or you're going to feel the trauma from a toxic relationship for the rest of your life, blah, 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 blah. You're never going to be free of that. So there's a lot of nonsense like that that's being peddled out that very irresponsibly, and people let it out, because it's like saying that, if I go to a doctor who only gives me crappy medicine, of course I only know there's crappy medicine available. So it's not anybody's fault, but rather it's a lack of information out there. And so people come to me in that state, and for instance, a person who goes like, I have never taken a train for the last 15 years because I get panic attacks. And to get this person on a train in 2 sessions, and then by the end of 8 weeks, they're taking them super happily. They're telling me, I've got all these dreams that I totally forgot about, like medical school, that now I'm actually reconsidering. My family is so much happier with me. I know that my kids are not going to pick up on my anxiety. Now I can, instead of having to drive for 1.5 hours, this train ride is so quick, so in half an hour, so much more time for everybody.
Wow, that's incredible. You changed his life. You probably saved his life. That's amazing. Wow. And family too. It's a ripple effect. So wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. So do you feel like there's different Asian and Western values, Eastern and Western values regarding work? Because you are in a place where you have both sides. Do you feel like those types of cultural things? And I feel like Asians don't usually really talk about stuff unless it's really horrible, and they snap and they talk about stuff. Whereas I think Western, of course I'm overgeneralizing here, but I feel like they're more open to talking about problems. Like, do you feel like there's like a clash in terms of Eastern and Western values in regards to work?
I would say that yes. So, for instance, you're very right in saying that in the States, for instance, everybody has got a therapist. That's a
Yeah,
running joke, but that's
yeah.
also the running
You're right.
reality.
You're right.
But it also makes people a lot more accustomed to talking about their problems
Yes.
or knowing that there's a possibility that you can solve it.
Yes.
So a lot of my clients actually come from the States.
Mm-hmm.
And because they've already seen therapists and coaches and all that stuff, even if they tell me, I've been seeing a therapist for the last 15 years and nothing's changed and all that stuff, they know that it's okay to talk. Whereas somebody, for instance, from Singapore is less likely to want to do that unless they have already been told by somebody else that, this is something that works, or they're so desperate. And it takes them some time to warm up to talking. So a lot of them start telling me, like, you know what, this is not going to work. I don't even know what to say and all that stuff. I don't have a lot of feelings. I don't just want to talk about feelings. I'm like, darling, you don't have to talk about feelings. It's not just about that.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
And how do you feel like how can workaholics become better people?
So if you're a workaholic, you tend to be type A. And how I'll pitch it is, let's get you to be type A about being type A. So let's make this type A nature work for you. And that switches their brain on. Because for a person who is type A and a workaholic, you need to give them a reason to do something. So, give you an example. All of us have got everyday traumas. You don't need to have been close to death or have witnessed somebody having their life threatened or losing their life for you to have trauma. So we call this small T trauma versus big T trauma, and it's a big deal. We cannot pretend it doesn't exist. So a lot of my clients tell me, oh, you know what, like, I've been told, everyone says I need to breathe, I need to do my deep breathing, blah, blah, blah. And that's just nonsense. I'm never going to do it.
Yeah.
And so what I will do is I'll tell them, okay, here's why you have to do it, because it resets the fear center in your brain. And I draw for them their fear center, explain to them what it is, and I tell them about how there's this timekeeper in your brain that, when affected by trauma, believes that then is now, to the point where we get flashbacks or we are reliving a situation where we smell the same smells, we hear the same sounds. It's almost like we time traveled without time traveling.
Wow.
So when you explain to them about these true functions in your brain, then they switch on. They go, okay, I get it. So how can we create a system and a structure to make sure that I do it and keep me accountable? So this is what I mean by helping a type A person be type A about being type A. And then you explain to them the reason why they need to rest. So, for instance, if you work super hard all the time and the only thing you do is work, I mean, we all know the kind of person who, when they open their mouth, it's all about, the software, and there's nothing, you can be passionate about your work, but life is not just about work, right? So I explain to them that often this is a result of being anxious, being high functioning anxious, because people with high anxiety tend to throw themselves into work all the time as a way of escaping their brains, escaping their overactive minds. So they oscillate between obsessing and overthinking and trying to escape it. And one way of escaping is work. So I explain to them why this is a situation, so they get it, so their brain switches on. And then once your brain switches on, your heart can switch on. And then your brain and heart can talk to each other. That's how I put it in a very simple way. Then you switch on your gut, which is your wisdom, and let them all talk to each other and play this metaphorical symphony. And then also I tell them things like, okay, so when you rest, you turn on your default mode network in your brain. And what this means is that you tend to create a lot more solutions. Darwin, for instance, Darwin and Dickens, they famously, he worked famously for 4 hours a day. And you could say it's because he's a privileged guy, he was rich and all that stuff. Yes, that is true. But he also committed to only working 4 hours a day. He spent a lot of time on walks and, and interacting with people. And this gave his brain downtime so that it had the space to be able to clear out crap. That's what it's like when we sleep, we clear out crap in our brain, right? So we declutter our brains, literally. And he also had this time and space where the default mode network in his brain was activated in order to put together very disparate concepts and come up with his theory of evolution.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Thank you so much. Wow, like I'm learning so much from this. I didn't learn from all my books. It's amazing. So, what kind of people should work with you and what kind of people shouldn't work with you?
Let's start with the shouldn't. So people
Okay,
who
great.
are the kind who tell me like, oh, you know what? I'm just signing up for this so that I can tick a box and tell myself that, oh, I've done it and I'm just doomed to fail. Or I just want to show my partner or my family or all that stuff. That's not to say they won't change. Okay. But
Yeah.
it's just when you put yourself in that space, you don't do yourself any favors.
Mm-hmm.
And you just want to talk and talk and talk. I'm not just interested to talk and talk and talk about how you feel and overanalyze what you're feeling, such as analysis paralysis. And again, you know, we can change that as well. But if that these days, what I really prefer is I tell my clients, if you're the type who is accountable, you take responsibility, you want to create lasting transformation. So beyond this 8 weeks, you're creating the structures and systems that you can bring forward. You learn how to review your systems and refine them.
Mm-hmm.
These are the kinds of people that I want to work with.
I love that. And, before we share how we can work with you and how we can stalk you, like, okay, this is a personal question. How can I have an awesome wardrobe while eating everything and staying skinny? It's like 3 questions, but I just...
Okay, awesome wardrobe would be wear what really highlights who you are. So I spent many years of my life trying on many different styles. Some of the styles were not me, some of the styles were me. And you don't get born knowing what fits you. You know, perhaps it's a lot of trial and error, or perhaps you engage an expert to teach you in terms of your wardrobe. So shortcut you there. But you also got to feel it. So what really goes with your body? What really goes with your personality? So when you know that, so for instance, I know that my body type is the kind that loves pencil dresses and pencil cuts.
And you look amazing in them. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, and I also love short skirts because I have long legs. And I love that.
Show off that figure. You look so amazing. I can't believe, okay, if you put your food Instagram next to your fashion Instagram, you're like, this doesn't make sense. How is this the same person? I'm sorry. Okay, sorry, continue.
So you got to know what you like, and you got to be able to step up to who you are. So I've got people with really awesome legs, for instance, but they're so scared of showing it because they have this hang up around it, or they say, oh, I don't want to be vain. Or people with really great hair that they should be flaunting, but they're hiding it. So it's about standing up and allowing your features to show without thinking that you're being narcissistic. It's okay to, you know, to be proud of yourself as long as you're not hurting anyone. That's the difference. And you're not going me, and you're not just being obsessed with yourself. You can celebrate who you are, because I think that's very inspiring as well when we bring a bit of beauty into this world, when we bring the sense of enjoyment and we give ourselves and other people the permission to say that, you know what, life isn't just about slogging hard or about suffering. There's also a lot of beauty in life in whatever form, and it deserves to be celebrated.
I love that, because I feel like Chinese people, or philosophy is like eat bitterness until you work and die from cancer, basically. Like,
well, actually, you know what? Have you heard of this Chinese philosopher? I think he was in the 50s or 60s, called Lin Yutang. So
no.
He wrote this book called The Importance of Living, and there's a lot of things about beauty, about learning to rest, about learning to experience life that I think is probably a lost art in today's Chinese people.
Seriously. Well, okay, maybe I'm speaking for a particular... I feel like the really rich Shanghainese people, they're living it up. So maybe I feel like I came to this country and came to the US at a wrong time. I could have been married, just don't have to do anything. Because I was in Shanghai actually, and my taxi driver was like, oh yeah, I own 4 houses. I was like, why the hell are you driving? And he's a grandpa now. He's like, oh, I'm just bored.
Yeah.
4 houses, holy shit. And this was just like a random kind of like equivalent of an Uber driver, guys. Like I fucked up. But anyways, now I'm doing this. Doing stand-up comedy. That's the worst thing you can do. But how can we work with you? Like what are your Instagrams? What's your website? How can we be in touch with you, and what's your next projects?
So my Instagrams, I don't really do my work Instagram much
Okay.
anymore.
Okay. Then
So I have my
whatever
food.
you want to share. Yeah.
So my food Instagram is called Red Lipped Glutton, and that's where I just spam you about food. So don't join it if you don't look at it if you don't want to be
On a
spammed.
diet. Yeah.
Because I just love food. I just love talking about food. I love connecting with people with food. It's more like a celebration. It's also something that ensures I probably will not have Alzheimer's. Because when you review food and you remember things, you're actually training your memory.
Oh.
I actually don't tell a lot of people this, but a lot of times social media is a diary, and is also a very good way of ensuring that I practice different skills. So for instance, committing myself to taking good photographs is a skill I want to practice. Because previously, when I went to Cambridge 10 years ago, my friend, who's a freelance photographer, nearly died. She was like, Pino, you made my head look like it's on a platter.
Pino, I'm sorry, I'm laughing at the wrong thing, but
yeah.
Pino is hilarious. For those of us listening, it's kind of like, what's the equivalent, Neil? It's like, it's not like girl, but it's kind of like, God, that's so funny to me.
Yeah.
I don't know the wrong thing to laugh at. But it's like Yo Dog, but like dudette. But
oh my god.
in a way, right? Like like dude, but like dudette. Hey P dudette. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Please.
yeah.
Okay, sorry. Chinese people will get my joke, but okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Please continue.
Yeah, so she said that, and that made me resolve to learn how to take photos and to learn to practice it. So what's the best way? Instagram. And also in terms of learning how to write. So you don't write very well instantly or overnight. It's something that you have to not just find your voice, you've got to create your voice. So that takes practice. And when you can write about random stuff like food, memories, or random quotes, interactions, reflections, draw from different bits of philosophy and art or funny stuff in general, just to celebrate life, you practice your writing. So Instagram's actually or just social media generally is actually a very good place for me to master different bits of myself while keeping my memory sharp.
I love that.
So I think it's a win-win situation.
Yeah,
I just tell people that, you know what, don't follow me if you don't want to be spammed. That's all.
Yeah. But I like it. I want to. But yeah. What's your what's your website? How can we work with you?
My website is perpetuaneo.com. That's perpetuaneo.com. You can go to perpetuaneo/connect if you want to work with me in an 8-week program. So you will see a way to book a chemistry call with me if you're serious. So this chemistry call is where we're going to talk about where things are for you and what do you want to get out of it. So book a call. You'll be led to a questionnaire where you have to fill up a form. So we learn so I will know how to best make use of this time to ensure that this call is useful to you and honors your time and my time.
Absolutely. Well, before we just head off, what advice would you give to our listeners in general?
I would say that be kind. And kindness is not just to everybody else, but it's also to yourself. So this is very almost like it's bonus and cliche these days. Like, be kind because you don't know what battle everybody else is fighting. I think that, there's something about the human nature, human experience that we don't honor enough, that we all have got what is wrongly known as negative emotions, but we all have experienced that. We all go through crap in life, but the fact is that we think that we are alone. So when you can be kind to somebody else, you just don't know what difference you make in their day. And smiling is also good for yourself. So we're not saying pretend that you don't experience anything and just smile and lie to people that everything's fine. No, it's about learning how to wish other people kindness, even from your bottom of your heart. So for instance, I don't like people with dark personality types, but at the same time, I'm able to see where they come from, what makes a person like that. So it doesn't mean that I wish them hell. Just because I guide my clients in a divorce battle with them doesn't mean I want this dark personality type person to be completely screwed over. But what I mean is that, you know what, like, I just wish that they don't harm anybody else. So I think that if we could extend this kind of kindness to somebody else, is great. And we can extend that kind of kindness to ourselves as well. So not to be so relentless on yourself, to be able to step back. That allows you to be type A without being type A, because you give yourself time to recharge.
Awesome. I love that. So thank you so much for this interview. Every time I talk to you, I feel way smarter. Like my IQ points just jumped like 1,000 points. So thank you so much. And you're just so hilarious. And I just love like your essence and your vibe. So thank you so much for being on this show. I hope to have you on future episodes to come. Thank you so much
my
for being here.
pleasure.
Thank you.